Hello everyone. Today I wanted to film a discussion type video. I'm not sure how long I'm going to talk for, but I thought that it would be a good idea to just sit down and start talking and see what came of it. So the things on my mind lately are not necessarily all relating to books, and I know that this channel is meant to be for books, but I thought that it would be nice to kind of just let myself go once in a while and just talk about whatever's on my mind. Essentially, I want to talk about being in a relationship, especially when you're young, and what being in a relationship at a huge turning point in your life means, and how that can affect you and the other party. There's a bug in my room again. I have been in one relationship in my life, and I became very attached to this person that I was with. I had liked him for a very long time before we started dating. He had liked me as well, and when we finally found out, it kind of caused things to go very quickly because we were like, oh, okay, there's no development needed here. We don't need to build anything, it's already here. And so the two of us were both very naive about being with another person, about what it meant to devote yourself in all sorts of ways, not only emotionally but physically as well, and being able to navigate through all these new experiences that you're having with this person. When I was with this person, I felt like I was on top of the world. I thought that I had everything that I wanted, that there was no way that my life could be any better than it was at that point, which is wrong. When I think back to myself at that point in my life, I realized that I wasn't really happy. I was playing this charade of what kind of person I wanted to be and putting her on as a mask and not acknowledging the things that genuinely made me happy. For example, I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan. I love most things that she releases. I can name pretty much any song by her in the first 5 seconds of the song. I know all the lyrics. I love Taylor Swift. But loving Taylor Swift didn't exactly fit into the persona of the girl that I wanted to be. I wanted to be this serious, pragmatic, no bullshit kind of girl, and Taylor Swift didn't fit with that. And so I lied. I wasn't only lying to the people around me, to my boyfriend at the time. I was lying to myself. I listened to her new album and I said, oh, I don't like this. Oh, this isn't for me. She's not for me anymore. I listen to that album now and I go crazy. It's a great album. But that's the sort of thing that I mean, that small details I would try to change about myself to fit more into this ideal, and I realized that this ideal was meant to fit with the person that I was in a relationship with. Even now, sometimes I have to question about myself, what's really me and what's really him. Like, even in something that is so integral to my life, my reading tastes, sometimes I fear that I got them from him. My ex-boyfriend loved to read high fantasy novels, really long, grueling fantasy novels. They were pretty much the only thing that he read. He also liked science fiction. I pretty much only read high fantasy and science fiction novels, and I can't really tell when I started to do that seriously. I had always liked them. I know that I've always liked them because I was reading some before him. But right now, at this point in my life, I would say that fantasy and sci-fi are the core of what I read. And I'm not sure when that started. And I'm not sure if that came from him. And so it has me thinking, how much of myself did I change while I was in this relationship? And how much of who I am now, a girl that I'm proud of, came from someone else. I'm not quite sure. I'm at the point where I see my ex-boyfriend in a lot of the books that I read, especially if I know that he's read the book that I'm reading. I recently read The Wise Man's Fear. The Kingkiller Chronicles are my ex-boyfriend's favorite books, and I had read The Name of the Wind while I was dating him, and I began to read The Wise Man's Fear and then kind of got distracted and finally finished it a few months ago. But while I was reading it, I noticed things in the book that were so similar to the way that he acted, and I couldn't help but notice those things. And I'm not saying that like my ex-boyfriend went crazy and like pretended he could do magic. Like, I am almost positive that most things that he learned about sex came from fantasy novels. The reason I think this is because when I was with him, we were talking about the origin of hickeys, and he said that he thought that they came from biting, and I was like, what? I thought it was just sucking. He was like, I think it's biting. And I had never heard anyone say that before. Maybe other people also think that it's biting, I don't know. But when I was reading The Wise Man's Fear, a character gets hickeys from biting. And I was like, I wonder where you got that piece of information. But it's things like that that I've noticed that he definitely pulled certain parts of who he was from. Makes me question, you know, what am I getting from these books? Am I reading them because I want to be more like him? When I read them, do I become more like him? I'm not sure. Anyways, the relationship ended up not working out because he was a year older than me, and he was in the transition between high school to college, and I was still a high schooler, and I desperately didn't want things to end, even though I could feel them slipping from my fingertips. I was very naive at the beginning of the relationship, and so was he, and you know, we would always talk about how we would make it work when he went to college, that we would do anything because we had to. We were us. We were meant to be together. But I think that he came to realize that he needed to enter his first year of college alone, and that devastated me because I was left thinking, you know, he told me that I was all he wanted, and now he's leaving. He thinks that he might find something better at college. I didn't know what to think. I am now a year older than I was at that point in my life. I'm a lot happier with myself right now. I feel stronger, smarter, and more understanding of the way the world works, I suppose. And I am now in that same transition period that he was in. And I find myself trying to think about the world through what he might have been going through. And obviously our situations are different. He is a boy and I'm a girl, and both of those come with different tribulations. One of them has more, but I won't get into that right now. But now that I'm in that transition period, I think about, would I want to be with someone right now? And I think that that answer is no. It makes me mad, sad, I don't really know. I remember being so upset about that relationship ending, feeling like, you know, I put so much energy into this person and now suddenly it meant nothing. But I realize now that we wouldn't have worked even if we tried to stay together. Knowing me and knowing the type of person that he was as well, we both get super sucked into academics and school and life that is occurring around us, and for it to be happening while we weren't in the same place we wouldn't have had any time for each other. We wouldn't have ever spoken to each other, and that's not a way to be in a relationship. And so I guess I'm more understanding now. But things get complicated. The college that he is going to is the same college that I am going to. Now, this usually isn't a problem for most people, but my college has 2,000 undergraduate students, so we are very small, and there will be many instances where I will run into him, especially since we're planning on studying similar things. And so I have to make a decision right now. I've not spoken to him in a very long time, and I don't know how I'm going to react when I will have to again. I don't know what feelings are going to overcome me. I don't know what I will want to say, and I don't even know what I want from him at this point in my life. And so I have to decide for myself, how am I going to approach this person? How am I going to approach this situation? Because knowing him, he's not going to want to approach it at all. I don't want to talk bad about him, but he was never very good at confronting things. Anyways, that's a problem for future me. Another thing relating to that I want to discuss is the public perception of women and men in relationships and how other people will perceive your relationship and you after the relationship. So because I was so attached to this person, I felt like every part of me was somehow bound to him, and what everyone thought of me came in conjugation with him. I thought that everything about me that was intelligent and bright was somehow associated with his intelligence. My ex-boyfriend is a very smart fellow, and we were kind of known for being that couple that was smart. I don't know how else to put that a little more eloquently. To give you sort of an understanding of what people thought about us, our ACT scores were a huge deal for some reason. He has a 36 and I have a 35, and people would like to make jokes about that. There were also a lot of jokes about what we were like in a relationship because we both came off as these very kind of robotic, stoic people that were very focused on their academics. So there would be people saying that, you know, we barely ever talked to each other, that we never kissed each other, that we couldn't be intimate with each other because we were so naive about romance and being in a relationship, and that we were just two robots together. So that's what people would say about us when we were together. But then after we broke up, I was terrified that somehow what proved my intelligence was gone. My entire life, I felt the need to prove that I am smart, that I am capable of intellectual conversation, because a lot of people like to look at a girl like me and assume that I'm not competent. Maybe because I like to wear crop tops sometimes. It may be because people think I'm too pretty to have anything going on in my brain. But my entire life, I have fought against this and done everything I can to prove myself. Being with the person I was with, I felt like he was another piece of evidence for me to use that I was a smart lady. Because if he wanted to be with me, then obviously there was something going on in my brain that was worth listening to. And so when I lost that, I felt like I had lost a part of me in a way, which is awful to think. I should never have associated so much of myself to him, but it's what I did. Anyways, I digress. After I committed to my college, I had a lot of people joke that I had made that decision because of him, which was not the case whatsoever. College has been a super important thing for me for the past 4 years of my life, and there was no way that I was going to make a decision like that, make a decision that I have been thinking about for so long because of somebody that I dated. And the jokes, they got to me because it is never a great feeling to have something that you've worked so hard for and to present it and be like, look everyone, I did this thing. I'm so proud of this thing that I've done. And for everyone to be like, oh, you're going there because he went there. It was painful and it was hard to deal with, but I've come to the point where I've realized I need to focus on myself more and not worry so much about how people are going to see my choices, because I know why I'm making my choices. I know why I did what I did. I don't know. I think I'm just rambling at this point. I'm not really quite sure what I'm talking about anymore, but it can be difficult to separate yourself from a person, especially after something has ended. And that's kind of what I've been dealing with for a long time. Do I think that things would have been different if I was the older one and he was the younger one? Do I think that people would have said the same things about him that they're saying about me? No. I think that people would have respected his decision more than they did mine. But I don't know. I guess there's nothing I can do to change the minds of multiple people, but all I can do is talk about it and try to remove myself from it and reflect on the person that I am rather than worry about what other people think I am. Not sure if anything I'm saying is making sense right now because I'm literally just talking and seeing what is coming out of my mouth. Okay, I think that I've talked enough. I'm not sure if anything I've said has been cohesive whatsoever, but it did feel good to talk about it and to just, I guess, release this weight off of my shoulders. I hope that you had a good time reflecting with me, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.